So I think most PhDs and most researchers are on the brink of falling apart. I think that there are always some instability in their heart. And I want to work on something. I want to talk about something today that I think is really important to get that stability so that you can do things and you can walk away at any given time. And I think having that walk away power, having the stability in your life that allows you just to say, screw it, I'm just going to walk away, is going to be so vitally important. And the one thing that you never hear anybody talk about because it's super boring is financial resources and making sure that you are always thinking about financial choices along the way. And there's some really simple things that you could do. By the way, I'm a big fan of what Dave Ramsey does. Not a big fan of his political stuff, but big fan of the sort of step-by-step fashion. So if you need something, go check that stuff out. And the basic thing in terms of financial choices is making sure that you are always thinking financially as this is part of what your life is. So my wife and I have been doing this long enough now, and the thing is, the reason why I like that sort of logic is because that's what my wife and I have always done, is that we've always thought about financial choices along the way. That was an element of our decision making that I think is super important. Right, so we are at a point in our lives, both of us can walk away if we wanted to, but, we're choosing to do this, and I know many days I don't want to do it, but we're choosing to get up and do this. And the way that you actually get there is each moment along the way, in everything that you do, you think about those financial choices. That's an actual element of your decision making, right? So I would not have, doing a PhD, completely irrational, terrible idea. I probably would not have done it again looking back because I thought I'd be able to recoup the financial cost of it quicker. But in the same with doing the reciprocity project, same thing. I wouldn't have done it. But here's the thing. It's still an element of the decision making where I'm forecasting into the future, what is the best possible scenario given that. So the PhD I chose, I could have done, I had the choice between engineering, which would have been great, and business. I chose business because it was more financially viable in terms of the expectation of salaries in the future. And the same thing that you probably should do is think about that before you make that financial choice. I know lots of people haven't, and I know that lots of people are already researchers that are watching this. And so what do you do at that point, right? So then you work going forward. That is what's called the sunk cost, right? And that sunk cost is gone. And then you work forward how to build that and build that stability in your life. And a lot of it is just making really small financial decisions along the way where you think, what's the smallest possible thing that I can live in to do okay? And I know you're going to laugh. And I told somebody this last week and they just started laughing. But you can live in a tent, right? Like the minimum that you can live in is a tent. And I know that seems like just crazy to talk about, right? But I want you to sort of phrase that in your mind. If that's the worst case scenario, everything else above that is doing okay. And so finding something that's small that you can live in and that you could pay off fairly rapidly in like 10 years, given with your family setting, and everybody's sort of family setting, salaries and stuff, it's all different. That's going to help out so much in terms of having that stability in living going forward. And then everything after that, there's two things that we do, and I look for as much as possible, is having insurance. And insurance is a really easy thing. You're going to experience all sort of catastrophic things that are going on in your life, and all an insurance is a pooling of money across many people, that if something catastrophic happens, that they take that some of that money out of that pool and give it to you. Now the thing is, you can self-insure through a lot of things, and so that's what we do with a lot of things, because anytime that you pool that money together, there's people that are going to take money out of that pocket just to organize that. So we self-insure, essentially self-insure all of our, everything other than our home and ourselves. So we do have, things like life insurance and disability insurance, health insurance, those things that allow us to live a good life. And the thing is, with health insurance, for example, we have a quite a good plan that we probably overpay for it. And the reason is I don't want to feel that pressure of making that financial choice to get into and do those things. So having those basic insurances are really important. And then the last thing is dumping a boatload of money into investing for a long term. And there's only really a couple of things that, as a business professor, I would ever recommend. So the first thing, financial advisors are actually really good. I don't trust them. I don't trust myself either. And so that's why I actually have them, because I don't trust myself and I make mistakes. So having a financial advisor that is kind of trustworthy, but you should never trust anybody anyways with your money, with your resources. I don't trust anybody. They're all flaky. Everybody's flaky, right? And so once you realize that everybody is flaky and everybody has biases and there's things that you can't anticipate that are going to come up, once you realize that, you will not trust them, but at the same time use them for advice and allowing them to do various different things and make just your life easier. And so we dump at least 15% of everything that we make. It's probably more, 25% of everything that we make in long-term savings. And we've done that for a long time in mutual funds and index funds, and that adds up. So the market grows at 10% per year. And the simple rule is your money is going to double in 7 years. I know it's a very simple rule, but over the course of a long time, say 20 years, that amounts to a boatload of money, like just a ton that is hard to fathom. It's magical when you do that. And I'm not saying, I just want you to sort of think about that. You don't sort of build wealth by investing in homes, and businesses are so flaky. They actually don't do very well in general. So I want you to think about, and that's what, the Reciprocity Project has been a bust financially, right? So I want you to think about how you can do a lot of this stuff so that you can invest in the best possible resources that are doing good things on earth. And that's like index funds, mutual funds, large companies that are doing really well, and invest in them for 20, 30, 40 years, right? Like all of the top investors in the world, that's what they do. Warren Buffett, right? That's what they do. And there's no magic behind it. It's just simply doing that repeatedly over and over and over again so that you are doing spectacularly well over the long term. And so the reason why you do all of this, you can walk away and you don't have to do anything else after that. You don't care. When you'll get to a moment where you've done this, you just don't care. And you don't have to do anything where you have to invest and you don't have to work beyond what you really need to. And being able to walk away gives you that stability so that you can do well in the long run. And I encourage you to get financial advisors. Finding a team of people behind you is going to be so important so that you could do well. But the harder thing is making those choices where you choose smaller, knowing that smaller is going to help you out in the long run. Smaller in almost everything, right? Like your car, that you could just write off and it doesn't matter, right? Like anytime that you have an emotional attachment to something, like your house, that's a warning sign, right? It means that you are probably investing far too much than what you should in something like that. So use your emotions, use the default of what is the smallest possible I can do, and then go from there. And I think that is very helpful for you. All right, take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.